Okay, so welcome to today's mindset call, where we are going to specifically be looking at launching before you have the results. And I'd like to ask you this question. Has it ever crossed your mind when God has given you a vision to launch and you're like, well, how do I launch this when I don't have the results yet myself? Has that ever come across your mind before? Has it ever been something that you felt like, how do I go and teach people how to do this, but at the same time, I haven't got those results? How do I really do this and I haven't done it? How do I say that I am great at helping? And I can see we got some people on the call here. So helping people to, deliver really high value corporate contracts if I have never got a high value corporate contract. How do I go and teach people how to, create the wedding of their dreams? I know I can create it because I've got it in my head, but I've never actually done that. How do I sell something that I've never done? How do I do that? And I want to ask you for your ideas. What do you think is the most authentic way that you can do that authentically, but at the same time, not turn away your audience by saying, hey, I've never done this before? How do you feel would be the best way to position yourself when you are, in fact, wanting to start something that you very much know that God has put in your heart to do? And that's the basis of what we're going to be talking about today. And I pray that on the back of today, with the little time that I have, I'm going to give you some tangible things that you can go away and do to allow you to be authentic, honest, truthful, but still credible in the thing that God has called you to do. And when we look at Brother David in the Bible of 1 Samuel, we see very early on that he is anointed king whilst tending to sheep. How is it possible that this guy is called to be a king? And those of us that have read the whole story, we know he eventually gets there. But let's pretend, in hindsight, he's never been king before. He's never known how to rule nations before. The guy's tending to sheep. And in actual fact, what's happening is his own father doesn't even believe that he's called to do the very thing that he's been about to be anointed to do. And when Jesse's door knocks and Samuel's there to anoint, Jesse puts all the other sons in front because he's like, hey, it definitely ain't that one. He's the sheep guy, right? So when even the people around you don't even believe that you can do what it is that you've been called to do, how on earth did David go from being tending to sheep to ruling nations and generations? No previous history. He didn't have it in his lineage. You know, some families, not going to be biased, but we can look around and see some families actually understand generational wealth and pass that stuff on down to their children's children. One of the things that we do, and I say we loosely, but you can take it as you will, is we are taught, and I know I was from a young age, that when you grow up, you're not supposed to pour the money down generational wealth ways. You're meant to bring it back up and look after your parents. I don't know if anybody else was taught that. But other generations are taught to bring it down and to teach the children, so the children's children. But there are some of us, I'm from the Caribbean Jamaican background, that was taught that actually you need to go back and look after your parents and put all the money into buying your parents a house and do all the things for your parents. And so what we end up doing is we end up sowing into the past, right? And then when it comes to the future, we don't have nothing left. How many of us know of persons that are sending so much money back home that they have nothing here? That they have nothing to pass on to their children? Is this a sore subject? It might be a bit tense. It might be, yeah, but my parents, because we have emotional spending behaviors. So we want to do for our parents, right? We want to help our parents because we feel that it's our responsibility. However, some nations believe generational wealth you pour down before you pour up. Uh-oh. I know the chat box is going to stop. But it's the paradigms that we get taught. But anyway, that was another sidetrack. So we have now this guy, Jesse, who has a son. He's got many sons. But this one, he's like, yeah, he's a sheep herder. He's not supposed to do anything other than deal with the sheep. How does he go to then ruling nations and generations? What did David do? When we look at the patterns, because I like to look at the patterns of what a person did rather than what they're doing in the role that they're in. So rather than looking at him whilst he's king, let's look at him what he did building up to king so that we can take some blueprints from that so that we can then go on to say, well, he didn't have no results, but he was called. Hello. He was called from God, and there were some things that he did do, and there were some things that he didn't do. So first things first, I can imagine that when you have parents that don't believe in you or parents that are absent, we can form things such as daddy issues or fatherlessness. And when we have this idea of fatherlessness, or we have this idea of doing things all by ourselves, what can tend to happen is we repel or we push away anything that may look like leadership. Or what we can do is the reverse. We cling on to anything that sounds like leadership. Hello. Has anyone ever gotten into a relationship, whether that be relationship in business, relationship friendships, relationship spouse-wise, and the very thing that attracted you to that relationship was because they batted you up? Because they guided you, because they gave you some kind of direction. Hello, somebody. Because they were a little bit militant, or they had some routine, or they were structured, or they could guide you. Is anybody on this call attracted to value? Come on now, where they were giving value, and that's what pulled you into that relationship. That value is something that you're attracted to. And I realized myself growing up, attracted to value, attracted to someone who could teach me something because it was lacked at home. That fatherlessness led me into areas and relationships where I was going to be fed because I lacked that feeding somewhere else. And so we're looking at David, and David was going into the battlefield. He was fighting, bears, and he fought Goliath, and he was under this leadership of Saul. And in fact, even when Saul wanted to kill him, he still honored Saul. He never dishonored him. He still respected Saul. And David had gone through these different battles. He'd gone through all these battles. Now, here's the interesting part about what the Bible tells me, is that he was anointed king, and then he went back to the sheep. So he had humility in that season where he didn't just say, yeah, man, I'm going to be king, so bun the sheep. He continued to serve in that area. He continued to learn the lessons that he needed to learn in that season. And it made me feel like I had to reflect and ask myself in different times of this journey, what season am I in? And so the very first thing we have to understand before we launch anything is, although I know I'm anointed, because some of us know we're anointed. We're not going to go on to, we've done sessions where we have to work on belief and faith, but we've got to a point now where I've seen the yeses in the chat. I know, someone say, I know there's an anointing on my life. And if you have not discovered that yet, that is the first place we need to discover. But I'm praying that we have more people on this call that can type in the chat, I know. And that's not from a place of ego, that's from a place of knowing who you're called to be because of who you're called by. And so we know that we are anointed. We know that there's a gift on the inside of us. We know there's a call over our life. But we also have to know that there are seasons, and we have to know what season we are in. You see, whilst David was living with his brothers and his father, he couldn't walk around the house like, yo, listen, I'm going to be king. You lot go deal with the sheep. You lot go do. He humbly continued to deal with the sheep. He weren't walking around saying, listen, man, a bad man. Man, a big bad man out here. Don't talk to me. You know, see, just Samuel, come and night, me brother. Who you talk to? You know, see? Who the one put me at the back, me the front line guy. Like, so he continued to tend to the sheep despite knowing. How many of you get frustrated? Let's be honest, like, you know you're called for more. You know you're called for a husband, like to marry you. You know you're called for, the next income level. You know you're called for more. But can you be humble in the season that you're in? Can you serve diligently with a pure heart and clean hands, even in the season where you may believe that it is kind of like, I know there's more for me, God. This might be a little bit beneath me right now, but God, can I be humble in the season that God has put me in right now? So before I launch, the Bible talks about if we are good stewards of little, then he will give us much. So before we launch for the much, can we look after the little? Can we have pure heart and clean hands for the little? Can we be effective in the environment that we are in? Oh, mercy. Oh, mercy. Have you ever seen, I'll give you this one. Have you ever seen any of your siblings, right? When they're in your parents' house, when they're living with the parents, they leave the dirty cups on the side. They don't, wipe their foot on the thing. They don't look after the house. But as soon as they move out, they want their house to be like immaculate. They don't want no one to touch the stuff. They don't want no one in the. But when they were living with your mum, they kept it dirty. They never looked after it. And there's something about stewarding other people's property before yours. Like the same way you would treat your own, would you treat other people's? Would you look after what it is that you have? It's almost like, I hear me talking about this all the time, how, those in a certain culture will honor a different culture over another culture, or even over their own culture. And you see it, sometimes you hear you'll see people in your family that see you doing something and they would never come to you, but they would go to somebody else who's doing the very same thing and pay them, but they would want you to do it for free. Or your close friends that know what you do and they know what you're about and they know you're good at what you do, but they'll pay somebody else, but then they won't pay you, or they'll pay you late, or they'll give you problems. Or you'll see somebody and you'll say, oh, but because they're English and they're American, so they must be better. Or the Americans, they'll pay the English because they must. Or you'll see someone and if in the corporate world, oh, I'll go with because they're white, they must be better, or because they're Chinese, they must be better. Like, there's this thing about looking after before you expect to be looked after. And so before you launch, how are you stewarding what you have? How do you steward other people's gifts and talents? How do we begin to understand this thing is by not assuming that everybody wants to use us and abuse us, not assuming that our gifts should equal a price tag. Now, that doesn't mean that you won't be compensated. The Bible says when you sow seed, there's a harvest. But we have to understand that there's a process. And I was saying on my Instagram earlier how when I was in the corporate world, I worked my way up from cashier to then I was cash manager, and then I went to advisor, and before I knew it, I was the youngest bank manager in the company, then moved on to managed a few other banks, and then went on to head office when I was in HR, learning and development, and before you know it, I'm training CEOs, I'm traveling around the world. And I think to myself, and put a yes in the chat if you are in the corporate world and you understand that you don't jump from cashier to corporate straight away. There's a process. Hello. And we accept that process in work. Some of us, we won't even apply for an increase because, oh no, it's above the grade. I've got to go through the process. We understand the process. But why is it we don't want to really understand the process when it comes to building our own business or our purpose? There is a process. So what is the process? I'm going to teach you a process on today's call. It's going to blow your mind. I think you're going to be like, oh my God, it's been there the whole time. It's been there the whole time. But there has to be a heart of humility. And some of us get this. Some of us get it. Some of us do it so naturally. And for those of you that do it naturally, I'd urge you to structure it so you understand there's a process. Because if it's not done correctly and it's overdone, it leads to burnout. And if it's not done at all, then it leads to no results. So the first thing we've got to do is we've got to understand where we are, know where we are, know where it is that we want to go. But we've also got to understand that that's going to require a humility. It's going to require a humility to be able to serve in the domain, in the position with what's within my influence now, to be able to expand later. When I started off in the coaching industry, I left the banking world. I reached so high up in the bank, and I decided I was going to launch out in business. I was going to create my coaching company, and I was going to do these events, and I did it all for corporate. But now I was coming out into the big bag world, and I was like, listen, I'm going to do this for myself. But I recognized ain't nobody knew me in this world. Everybody knew me in the banking industry. Everybody knew me where I worked. But ain't nobody knew me on the internet streets. Nobody knew me, like nobody even knew me in Lewisham. Right? No one knew me. I was nobody. Sometimes we have this lane for ourselves and we just feel like, I know you work for Barclays. I know you work for NatWest. I know you work for Coutts. I know you work for Vodafone. I know you're a top dog in Sainsbury's. I know you're the boss in Body Shop, right? But in the big bad internet streets of 8 million people, nobody knows you yet. You have no street cred. You have nothing, Nikki. So here's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to, someone write in the chat, we've got to start from zero. When you start over, there's got to be a humility to say, listen, in this season, I'm going to have to tend to sheep. And I don't know who needs to hear this, but this ain't your king season where you're reigning. This is the sheep season where you start tending to sheep. Remember, the sheep ain't even yours. Other people's sheep. I remember when I came in the industry and I started launching my company, it flopped. I did this big event. I spent all this money, and at the time I thought it was a lot of money. I spent $5,000 on this event, and it completely. I'm hard on myself. I say it flopped. It didn't flop, but it flopped. It wasn't as I wanted it to be, and it didn't bring me in the income that I thought it was going to bring me in. And I had to humble myself. And you know what I did? I went to selling somebody else's products. And I did it so well for 3 years. 3 solid years, I sold other people's products. I did calls for other people, selling other people's stuff for a commission. I trained my mind. I said to myself, you know what? This is something that's already built out. I don't have the capital to build this thing out. I don't have the wisdom or the knowledge just yet. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to sit under this millionaire. I'm going to sell his products. I'm going to understand the game. I'm going to humble myself, and I'm going to learn everything I can learn until the appointed time where the anointed becomes appointed. I'm going to sit in my lane, and I am going to do what needs to be done to gain the experience in which I require. I'm not going to get no flames in the chat for that, because everyone wants to go from anointed to the big bad world up there. There's a humility required to be able to gain the success in which we say that we want. Who are you serving in this season? Who are you learning from in this season? What's the process that you put yourself under? Or are you learning from yourself? And we know what happens to those that learn from themselves. Galatians 6 tells us exactly what happens to people that learn from themselves. It leads to destruction. So when we're looking at launching, who is in the industry or who has the results in which you desire in the way that you desire? Because someone may have 100 grand in their account, but they're a thief and a fraudster. You got to be careful on the how part. But who has the results that you can sit under humbly, that you can serve, that you can work through, that you can almost reveal blueprints? This is bigger than a course. This is about relationship building. This is about humility to understand things that are not even said on calls like this, that only come up when you have close proximity. that can only come up when when situations come up and you just happen to be around. You just happen to have the phone call. You just happen to be on the phone or in the room when it happened. Who are you around that you can really learn from? When you look at I want you to just type in the chat right now and just say yes or no. When you look at the top 5 people that you hang around, that you speak to mostly on the phone, 5. Out of the 5 closest people that you speak to the most, where do you rank in the smartest? Number 1, you're the one pouring into all of them. Number 2, maybe you have one of them that's a little bit above you, but the rest you're pouring in. Out of the 5, where do you rank? If you are number 1, you're in a cage. You're in the wrong place. I want everybody to type in the chat. Where are you in the 5? 5 people around you or 4 people in you. Where are you? You number 1? If you're number 1, it's a problem. If you're number 1, it's a problem. You have to find a way. It's to kiss my teeth. You have to find a way to get out of that number 1 spot. I know in life we always aim for the number 1 spot, but in this one, you got to get out of the number 1 spot, sis. Because when you're in a number 1 spot, that means you're constantly pouring out and ain't no one really pouring into you. Ain't no one can really give you the blueprint. You're the one with the ideas. You're the one encouraging and motivating everybody. You're the one that's like, yo, 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 yo. And when you look around, ain't nobody ringing you. Ain't no one checking up on you to say, sis, you know that gift that you have? You know that gift that you carry? You need to go harder. I said on my Instagram live today, I love my husband. And we had the best January we've ever had in life, hands down. And we sat down to have this meeting, and I'm expecting, I'm expecting a kiss. I ain't even gonna lie. I'm expecting a kiss, maybe even like a feel up or like a hug up, squeeze a titty or something. My man looked me in the eye and told me I'm lazy. Hello? He told me, yes, brother sweet Anton, we're gonna say, so quiet. Yeah? He told me that I am playing small. He's a nigga. You ain't even done that much work. You haven't even worked. Well, I remember when you first started. Can you imagine how you were grinding when you first started? What the results would have been like if you were really grinding? If you have people around you that just want to keep patting you on the back, yeah, hurrah, hurrah, hurrah. Listen, I don't want no yes man around me, peeps. If you're going to launch something and you're going to launch something big, you need accountability. But here's the thing. If we have this fatherlessness, this fatherless issue where no one can talk to us, where we are thin-skinned, where no one can't correct us in love and no one can't show us things, then we have a problem. We block the blessing because the enemy will have us controlled by this spirit of being number 1. I don't want to be number 1. We've got to get out of the thing. I don't want to be number 1. But when you have somebody who's ready to pour into you, how receptive are you to the encouragement, to the upliftment? I smiled and I was like, baby, maybe that's my fatherlessness. Go tell me off again, babes. Right? I'm like, okay, let's keep it going. All right, yeah, because what Anton was doing, he wasn't looking at the results. He was looking at the process. Hello, somebody. He was looking at my process and he was saying to me, when you put your best self forward, results will come. So we got to get to a place where we focus on the process, not the outcome. Process. Because when you're focusing on your process, guess what you can do? Authentically, you can teach process. So you're not going to teach outcomes because you haven't got the outcomes yet in that specific area, but you can teach process. So here's what I can do. I can sit here and say to you guys, when I was coming up, when I was down and out, when I had no money, you know what the process I was doing? I was on Instagram Live every day. I was messaging 10 people every day, sharing the products and services that I had. I was booking events and taking money that I didn't have and going and doing events in Costa Coffee sometimes when I didn't have the money. I was going outside and I was doing the work. I'm not telling you the results yet. I'm telling you my process. What are you willing to do to be able to get the results? Here's another thing. Here's another thing. Here's another thing. Okay, this is my motherly vibe, big sister vibe. You got to put your best foot forward. Where you lack in results, you have to make up for it in effort. I want you to write this word down, effort. The dirty tracksuits have to go, sis. The headscarves on school run have to go. How you dress, how you approach people, the way you speak. Like, you guys know me. I'm born and bred Southeast London. I'm a joker, right? When I see my people, Wagwan fam, you're good though, you get me? Like, I mean, that's the way we talk in South. But when I'm meeting a prospective business person, I don't care if you're from South as well. I'm going to be like, great morning, good morning, how are you doing? I'm going to give a compliment. Oh, I love your outfit. I like your earrings. I'm going to give a genuine compliment. I'm going to find something I like about that person. I will say, talk to me. Let me know what your goals are. How's your day been? What's been happening for you? You know, what season are you in right now? If I could show you a way, would you? Like, I'm going to put myself together. I'm not going to go there, no dirty tracksuit. I'm not going to go there, just relaxed. I leave my yard intentionally thinking that I'm going to meet my next client round the corner every single day. Some of us get too relaxed. Who's too relaxed? You have to do the things that most people won't do. So you see, even something as simple as being on this call right now with your camera on. Someone on this call could notice you because your camera's on, because you're commenting in the chat. But because of relaxation, because of comfort zone, because of, oh, it's late, I can't be bothered. Let me tell you this, those that have results can be bothered in places that those that don't have results are not bothered. Uh-oh, that's going to be somebody catch that tomorrow. Can you be bothered to get the results? So where you lack in results, you make up in effort. Someone mentions something to you. Oh, it's my daughter's birthday on Thursday. You ain't going to remember that. Put it in your phone as an alarm. Message them. Hey, how's your daughter's birthday? It's the TNTs, tiny noticeable things. You have to make up for it in effort when you lack the results. People buy from people. Before they even think about your product, they're going to think about you as a person, the connectivity, the impression that you make. One thing about me, they're going to go, oh, that girl in the red, or that girl with the glasses, or that girl with the earrings, or that girl with the hat. There's always going to be that. They may not even remember my name, but they're going to know the girl that always wears red. They're going to know the girl that always has the glasses. They're going to remember me. When I step into a room, when I go onto a Zoom, right? I have a Zoom straight after this with Jamaica at 11 o'clock. I don't care if I'm the only one with my camera on. I've got my camera on. I'm dressed. I'm going to address myself as I want other people to address me. You wonder why people take the... Let me tell you something. It shouldn't be the case, but it is. People treat you how you treat yourself. People treat you how you treat... And how you show up is how people are going to show up for you in your life. If you're relaxed, if you're lazy, if you don't care about your appearance, if you don't care about how you show up for yourself, ain't no one going to buy from you, ain't no one going to trust you. I tell you this, a lot of people on their page, they think that people ain't buying from them because of other antics. And you know, it's just because of how they present themselves. You won't even invest in a ring light for yourself. So all your Zoom calls are dark. But you want people to buy from you. Now, I'm saying this because when I first started, I had a Packard Bell. That's all I could afford. And the laptop was so dark that when I was doing the Zooms, I was like a silhouette. But that was my first investment. I was like, listen, as soon as I get this money, I'm buying a better device. Because I've got to show up at the level that I want people to pay. And here's another thing. You also have to be respectful with your prices. Now, I'm going to do two sides to this. There's some of you on this call that you've been doing things a long time. You've been doing it for a long time, right? And you have the results, and you undervalue your price because of fear, because of who you think can and can't afford it, and because of your own self-esteem issues, and because of who you think you serve. So, oh, the poor people, they can't afford it. And you tell yourself all these things, so you put your prices down, even though you got the results. And then you've got those of you that don't have the results, that want to put your prices up to sky's the limit. And then you wonder why people don't buy. But then if you want to put your prices up sky's the limit, you also have to invest in yourself so you match the person that the price reflects on. Hello. So if you don't want to pay for a photo shoot, big up my girl Ange, you see how plug. Run me an affiliate link, my girl. I'm always looking for my affiliate. You don't want to invest yourself with Ange behind the brand to get your photo shoot done, right? You don't want to invest to see my sister Natalie on the call. You don't want to invest to get your Instagram page cleaned up with my sister Natalie on the call. You don't want to invest to make sure that your hair is done, your nails are done. You don't want to invest, but you want to charge that price, but you want to look a mess at the same time. It no works, so. It no gosso. It no gosso. It don't gosso. It doesn't go like that. It doesn't. It's got to be coherent. Do you guys understand what I mean? Some, you understand? I know it's a harsh word. I know it's a bit touchy. The headscarf has to go, Esther. Headscarf got to go. But you know what that means? You're going to think about your hair being done. And guess what that means? When your hair's done, come on, women. We know when our hair's done, we just have a little bit of, Anyone want to chat to me when my hair's done? Are you crazy? I'm on Instagram Live every day when my hair's done. But guess what? I ain't wasting this hairstyle. Yo, when the nail them done, me there, I put my hand them in a picture free. I'm like, yo, you want to see these nails today? Hello. So by default, you are more productive when your hair's done. So let's look at this process as we're going to launch this thing. We're going to land the plane. So I'm looking at launching something, and I want to make sure that I'm authentic because I don't have the results yet. So how do I get the results if I don't have the results yet? Let me tell you how you get the results. You get the results. What do you mean, Nikki? Get the results. And I said this on my Instagram that I actually saw, Ange, I saw a podcast that you did, and I said it was such confirmation. So I did this. This is what I did. Big bad girl Nikki, because I know that's what they keep saying, that Nikki's a bad girl. My mum calls me money settings, apparently. But anyway, that's another topic. So big bad girl Nikki comes out of the bank, has all this value. I've been accredited by the highest sales and service accreditation you can have in banking. I've done the thing. And now I'm coming out back at the bottom again. And I come out and I'm doing things for free. Hello. I know some of you are scared of that word. Free. Type it in the chat. How do I get results? How do I get testimonials? How do I get proof that I can do what I can do? Is I have faith that this ain't going to be the last. So I can get 10 people together. I can do it for free because the results that they're going to give, the testimonials that's going to come off it, I'm going to be able to say with my chest, listen, when you work with me, these are the results you get and here's the price. And that's when I get to say, and today's price isn't going to be tomorrow's price, because when I do the next 10, it's going to be one price. And guess what? When I get even more results, guess what happens? The price goes what? Up. But we don't start from there, people. We've got to get the results first. So here's an idea. What if you could gather 5 people, 10 people? I heard Ange say on a podcast that she got some of her friends together and did all their photo shoots. No charge. And they all split it to get the studio time, and she banged them up. If you see the pictures, heavily banged them up, banged them up, banged them up. You think they went to some, I don't know, some top fashion week in New York. Got the results, got the photos, banged it on the website, put a price on it, and guess what? The next set of people had to what? Pay. And where she started when she first did it is not where the prices are now. Because guess what? I told her price got to go up now, Ange. There was a process though. You don't want to be doing it there and you haven't started there. You got to put some seeds. You got to sow. You got to put some skin in the game first. Where are the seeds that you're sowing? Who have you helped? Let's get some results. Let's get some tangible testimonials and say to them, it's an exchange. Actually, it's not free because I'm doing it for your testimonial. Be real about it. So look, I will do this for you for free. I'm telling you, this is how you got to say it with your chest. Are you guys ready for the script? I'm going to give you the script today. I'm telling you that what I'm providing is actually worth £10,000. Is actually worth £5,000. Is actually worth £25,000, whatever it is. But what I want to do is I want to give it to you for free because I believe that between us, I believe in your vision and I believe I can help you. And so if you're willing, I will not put a charge on it in exchange for a testimonial. Hello? In exchange. Now, I serve some of my VIP ladies for £17 a month for 2 years. 2 solid years, rebranding, sitting on the phone doing one-to-ones for hours and hours, pouring into them, pouring into them. £17. Did I believe I was worth more than £17? But did I understand that there was going to be a time where the price goes up to 47, the price goes up to 97, right now it's 97? And do I understand what's coming next where the price will go up to 200? Yes, but those that were in at the time kept the same price. Do I understand that there are seasons? This is why when you have an opportunity, don't miss it because yesterday's price isn't tomorrow's price. Yesterday's price isn't today's price. But if you don't have results yet, your first goal should be getting results. Now type in the chat, if you're somebody that God has led you to something and you haven't got results in that area yet, I want you to type what that area is. And I'm going to give you just some ideas on how you could go about getting results in that area, right? And I'll take a few. Let's see. I wanted to get some Instagram pages up, but it's not loading. Don't worry, we'll do that next week. Boom. Dyslexia events manager. All right, Esther. So first things first, research. Where are the places that currently hold your target audience? So excuse the loose term, but where all the dyslexic people hang out, right? Where are the managers of those dyslexic centers or those places where you can find those target audience? Go to them. Let them know that you are planning an event. Right? You may have to get some skin in the game, you may have to invest some money. You could go to investors. I know everybody wants to have a CIC these days and get government money. That's never been me, but I'm not knocking it if that's what anyone wants to do. But just find money, right? Take it out your own money. If you believe in yourself, take it out your own money. Go and find money, get investors, whatever you want. But you now need to put on an event. You don't have to put on an event. Put an event, and it's going to be Esther Ray's whatever the title is, from dyslexic to living your dreams, whatever, right? And now you go to all these people and say, look, I'm putting on this event absolutely free of charge, right? I'll tell you this, what's his name? I don't know if you guys have heard, Will Smith's son. He opens up a restaurant for homeless people, right? And he says, come and eat, and just pay what you want. And people were coming and they were just paying what they want. And he said, if you have money, come and pay for your meal and pay somebody else's meal. And do you know, it's a weird model because you'd think, oh, people would just go in and just pay nothing. But because they know the cause, do you know people, the restaurant is actually in profit. Crazy. There's no prices. You just pay what you want. And I thought it was a brilliant idea. You could actually have an event where you say, listen, the tickets are whatever you want. It's all going towards, sponsoring dyslexic people to come to this event for free. Pay what you want, but you are putting that money up yourself. Right? And there's ways of structuring it. We don't have time to go into it now, but you structure that event. You put on an event for free. You get a cameraman to make sure you capture your footage because actually that's what you're doing. That's going to be, you're not doing it for the footage. You're doing it for the results, obviously, but you're also going to capture the footage that's going to help you to sell the next one. Right? So now you put that event on. You now go on social media, you start promoting the event, you find people that's interested in that said topic of dyslexia. You go and find people that are crushing it in dyslexia, crushing it in the industry of, public speaking, but they're dyslexic, and you get them to come and talk to your event and say, hey, look, there's no money in it. I'm happy for you to sell your product from the stage. Okay, I'm happy for you to do anything, but I'm looking for people with dyslexia that can really motivate some other people that are of dyslexia. It's a free event. There's no real, no real profit, and I'd love to put you on stage and you can sell everything that you want. But can I get a testimonial from you as well? Right? So it's in your hands, Esther. It's in your hands. You could even start with a Zoom call. That's free. Get everybody on the Zoom, and then you from the Zoom you do it from there, and you build from there, and you build from there, right? But you start free, but it doesn't end free, right? It doesn't end free. So hopefully that's given you some thoughts and some ideas. Content creation, talking on more podcasts, right? So very simply, talking on podcasts. There's so many podcasts out there. A bit of humility. Ask, hey, I'm interested in talking on podcasts. Your podcast looks really nice. Can you invite me on? There, like sometimes I'll give you an example. I've been doing these calls for 10 years now for free. Okay, FREE, free. I've been doing it for free. I've never asked for a seed, never asked for a penny, right? And there was at one point we used to have over 100 people on the call, and then people stopped coming on and they didn't come on time. And I got frustrated. I was like, I'm not inviting people. Like, I'm giving real key value. I'm not going to invite. It's free. Like, I'm not chasing people to join the call. But the Holy Spirit was like, keep sending the reminders, Nikki. You never know who needs to hear the call today. Keep sending the reminder. Have humility. Don't look at it from a place of they should be coming on. They should be biting my hand off to come on these calls. This is so much value, right? Sometimes you've got to go out and find. Sometimes you've just got to go and be a hunter. You've got to be direct. I send messages in the email. I have a broadcast list. I send the message out on broadcast every Monday. Do I believe that I give value on these calls? Do I believe that people should just set their alarms and come on time? Yes. But do I believe that life happens and people forget? I'm not going to take it personally. Oh, they don't honor me if they don't come on the call. Rubbish. Like, we've got to lose the ego sometimes. You want to be on podcast? Ask. Message. Hey, I see your podcast is great. I saw such and such. Saw a great podcast. It's in my target audience. I'd love for you to invite me. These are my accolades. Let me know if you'd like me to come on. It would be an honor to be on your podcast. Sometimes humility means asking. Sometimes humility means asking. What else? Let me see in the chat here. What else do we have? Retreats and events for mothers. Easy peasy. Announce it. Youth mentoring. Okay, easy peasy. Get a room together, get a Zoom call together, invite all the youth for free and start mentoring them online. You can start a group chat. Tell everyone to join the group chat, and you're going to give value every week. I do these Monday mindset calls every single week, 10 years, never been paid. But guess what? Off the back of my mindset calls, I'm talking about the retreats that's coming. I'm talking about the trading stuff. And people then join different avenues off of the back of me serving. The problem why some of us don't see results is because we don't have the humility to serve for free. We think that everything should come to us because of our previous results, because of the previous times when we used to make money, or the previous times when our boss told us we were great, or the previous time. It doesn't work like that, ladies and gentlemen. We are only as good as the project that we're doing right now. We cannot look at this project and talk about the last project that we did. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work like that. So when I met Anton telling him about my dirty ex and my baby father left me, ain't none of that important. He was like, I don't want to know about your baby father. I don't know anything about that. Let's talk about us. Let's talk about what we're doing here. We can't talk about what happened with your baby father. We can't talk about what happened with your previous exes. In fact, I'm not even interested about your previous exes. I just want to get to know you now. I just want to know who you are now. So let's get to a place where, we're serving generously and loudly. I mentioned Ange's name so many times on this call, but there's so many times when, I said to Ange, how much do I need to pay you? She's like, Nikki, stop it. Angie be doing my flyers, my book covers. Like, this woman just serves. And so when I'm creating a package and I'm like, okay, part of the pack, I'm like, who do I need to call? Of course I'm going to bring Angie in. Of course I'm going to bring my girl Angie in, because there's times where she's sewn, she wouldn't even take no money from me. So how can I not bring her in now when things are going on? How can I not say, listen, now we got a package. Let me make sure that we do certain things. That we got to think with the end in mind. Sometimes we want to benefit at the beginning, but you got to think at the end. You got to understand the end. The end. David knew he weren't going to tend to sheep forever. And when you sow in good soil, harvest Africa. It has to come. That's why you have to align yourself with environments that stretch you. You be visible in the right rooms. And I'm gonna say this humbly with my chest, humbly with my chest. And I'll say this with my eyes closed. If you saw a flyer with me and Hitler, are you gonna come to that event? Let's pretend he's not dead. Me and Hitler's doing an event together. You love you some Nikki, but I'm rocking with Hitler. You're going to come to the event. You're going to take notes at the event. You're going to question my sanity. You're going to ask my discernment. Is Nikki okay? And so this is why you got to be careful who you partner with. You got to be careful who you're even in this day and age, who you're seen rubbing shoulders with. You got to be diligent on the advice that you take and the people that, vet your people when you're doing events and you're going to have people on your stages. Vet the people who you put on stage. It's very important. When I'm looking at an event, right? When people people post events, the easiest way to look at an event is to look at the people at the event. Don't look at the person, because remember, when you're doing the event, the person who's doing the event is going to be dressed to the nines. They got their outfits 5 months in advance. They got the tailor all made it. But look at the guests. The guests, the type of people going to that event is going to tell you the caliber of that event. The people on the lineup is going to tell you the caliber of the event. Don't look at the star of the show. These are clues I'm giving you. These are big bad boy clues I'm giving you right now. You look at that event, look how the people are dressed at that event. I've seen so many events where the hostess dresses up. We had this event one time. Listen. We had this event one time and we booked the venue, and the people who booked the venue booked us the wrong room. I was livid. Out of professionalism, I still had to do the event, but the room was horrid. The walls were peeling. The carpet looked like it was from 1919. The tables were dusty. The chairs were dusty. And your girl gives value, so the value outlives the room, but the room was terrible. It was horrible. It was the worst. Even the clock on the wall wasn't working. It was terrible. And for me, it made a difference. Even when you look at the pictures, you pay attention to the atmosphere, pay attention to the details. These details, you believe, oh, I'm just starting, it doesn't matter. It does matter. You've got to pay attention to the details. It's very important. Here's another tip for you. Document all your learning. Everything that you're doing, document it. Document down. Because when you're going back to teach the process, you can look at your document and go, this is what I did. I documented everything. I can tell you all the events I did back in 2018. I can tell you what products I was selling in 18, 19. I can tell you when I shifted into running my own coaching business, when I shifted into the retreats that I was doing, right? And the process of the retreats and how that came about and how I got the venue and how, I literally can tell you everything because I documented it, not because I remember it all. So document your journey, because it's those things. Look, I'm now teaching from the journey. I've not once mentioned how much money I made. I've not once mentioned the results. But I'm sharing the journey, because it's the journey that you can learn from and that you'll be able to implement, as opposed to the results. Be careful of people that are online going, yeah, I'm a millionaire. I'm earning 20 grand a month, 50 grand a month, 100 grand a month. How does that help you? It doesn't help you. We want to know the process. We don't want to know the outcomes. Tell me the process. Tell me what you had to do. Tell me what skin you had to put in the game. And all these six-figure earners, Esther, mercy of God. Everyone's a six-figure earner. But when it came to going to Jamaica and rebuilding the houses, the six figures went quiet. Couldn't hear from them. I had my begging bowl. I was like, who's going to help me rebuild these houses? All the six-figure earners went ghost. The six-figure earners went like Bitcoin. They went, what did they say when crypto went dipto? They went undercover. Couldn't find them. Couldn't find them. Me and a bunch of people went out to Jamaica. We rebuilt houses. Couldn't find the six-figure earners. Couldn't find them. You soon know who the six-figure earners are. They were hiding under rocks. I'm under rocks. Oh no, that's Movado. Excuse me. I'm a pastor now. I can't sing that. Anyway, let's get back onto this. So number 6, we've got 2 more. Is the price honestly. Okay. So start small. Certain things you give away for free. Don't have a lack mindset. It's okay to give it for free. It always pays back later. Listen, right now I'm selling 10,000, 15,000, 25,000. I even have a 50,000 pound product. Okay. One person's bought, but I've still sold it. Right? I've got products, bruv. But I never had that at the beginning. I started off on £17 a month subscription, Joe. And even then people didn't pay. Even then I had problems. Even then I had people complaining. 17 quid. So you have to price, be honest with yourself. And here's the thing, I've spent over 100, probably about 150 grand on my personal development. That's how I justify being able to sell a 50 grand product. But how dare you want to sell something for 10 grand, 15 grand, if you ain't never spent that type of money on your own personal development? Be a product of the product. When you invest in you, you now become more valuable that you can sell with your chest what it is that you have. If you find it hard to steward £17, £20, if your direct debits are bouncing every month, how do you expect to run a business? Like, these laws, they work. As a man reaps, it's based on his seeds that he's sown. So if your Netflix bill keeps bouncing, best believe when you start a business, all your clients are going to be, those are the people that you're going to attract, the bouncers, the people that keep failing your payments. So you want to come from a place of integrity, okay? So you price from the stage of where you're at. Does that make sense? That doesn't mean it's going to stay there all the time. But it's getting out there to the point where, I tell you this, we were giving away so much for free. At one point, our community was on 2,000 people. And at that point, I was like, whoa, we might have to monetize this, because I'm going to need a customer service team. I'm going to need staff, and I can't ask everyone to do it for free like me. So we're going to have to monetize this. Get to a point where it's so big that now people are not going to be upset if they have to pay something, because you're going to have to get teams in place. It's impossible for you to be able to do that. Mark 4:28, all by itself the soil produces grain. First the stalk, then the head, then the full kernel in the head. There has to be a process, people. And that process will always connect you to others. Always. So price honestly. Don't come with this whole, I had a bit of a joke on Instagram today. I think they're coming for my neck. I did say that some people have a millionaire chattings with universal credit mentality. And it's true. It was bad. They're going to tell me off, but it's true. Don't be one of them. Don't be one of them. Don't be one of them. Just price honestly. Know where you're at. If you don't really have that much results, do free or do a little £20 offer. It's fine. As long as you're not at a loss for whatever the product is. I'm not saying, you're selling laptops, you sell it for £20, right? But it's got to be, make it make sense. And number 7, final one. People want Selfridges events with little budget. Oh, God. Oh, Esther, don't start with me. The final one is we've got to be consistent. Of course, that word comes out every single week. When no one is watching, are you still fulfilling the momentum in which you've started? Do you have a little's work ethic, but expecting a Selfridges output? Do you have um uh, Dior chess? Do you have a Louis Vuitton idea on a Primark budget? Right? Red bottom shoes, but they're really brown bottoms from Zara. You have to know where you're at. You have to know the truth of where you are right now, not where you see yourself, because I know where all these gurus manifest. I'm happy and grateful now. I'm a millionaire. Yeah, I get it. I get it. It's coming. But where are you today? Let's start on the process of today so that we can make tomorrow great and that we can get to all those statuses. Okay? And I tell you this, when you hit 1 million, I tell you, I almost lost everything. I couldn't even handle it. I didn't even know what to do with the 1 million, right? So you got to ask and pray to God that He helps you to steward it when He gives you the more, right? So that's a whole nother sermon in itself, a whole nother session. So we're not going to wait to be absolutely confident in everything to move. That's not what I'm saying. Okay, we're going to move from a place of we know God has called us. And so here's what I'm going to do. To show myself approved, I'm going to sow into about 10 people. I'm going to sow into about 5 people. I'm going to have a conversation. Who do you need to have a conversation with this week and say, hey, look, this is what I'm going to do. This is the price, but I'm picking 5 people who I can do it with, who I know I can help. Absolutely no strings attached. All I need is a testimony. Should it work? Are you down for it? Can I put you down? Are you willing to give it your best? That's it. And get those results. And I promise you, just the testimonials alone, as long as they're filmed not in the dark, and you post them out and you attach your link and then you start to monetize small. Your call to action today is very simple. Ask yourself now, what are you going to hide behind? Are you going to keep saying, I'm not ready yet? Are you going to keep saying, I'm waiting on God? One thing that you're going to choose to do this week that is going to take you into your focus and fly season in a spirit of excellence. Rebuildforfree.com. If you go over there and in the section that says mindset takeaways, I want you to put in there the one thing that you're going to focus on. Now, if you put it clearly enough, that anybody who's interested in that one thing, they can then comment on your post and be a part of it. So I've created a free space where persons of all similar mindsets are going to be hanging out, with all different gifts and talents are going to be hanging out, and they're all going to be seeing all of each other's gifts and talents, and there is a place where you can cross-pollinate. It's not a place of lack. It's not a place where Nikki says, oh, you met them through me, so you've got to talk to me. No, it's free because freedom exists. Freedom reigns. Not control freak. I'm not out here wanting to control relationships. It's a completely platform that enables you to connect with other people that potentially could need what you carry, or you could need what they carry. And so go in there, rebuild for free. It will take a lack of being lazy. It will take a little bit of effort. Rebuildforfree.com. Go in there, go in the mindset section and put your takeaways from this call and the one thing that you're looking for that you're going to do this week to really show up. So I've got a few announcements for you and then we are going to close out. Give me another 60 seconds of your time. How many are fired up right now? Who is fired up? Put 777 in the chat. You're going to be even more fired up. Okay, you know your girl, financial literacy educator out here. I have been thinking, how am I going to serve to a new capacity? And I am a product of the product. I have to practice what I preach. And so I'm launching something absolutely new. And what better way to do it than to do it for free? Okay, so that's the magic word there, free, F-R-E-E. I know you guys like that, but even more so when it comes from a place of value, I'm going to be giving you so much value. So I have been ashamed of this gift that I've had for almost 10 years. It has transformed my life. It's enabled me to put the kids in private school, upgrade the house, the car, completely change over. And that skill is investing. Okay. And I've been investing in the markets, as I said, for just under 10 years, right? And I've done very well. I've trained thousands of people. I have testimonials. In fact, people on this call, you can even type in the chat if you've made money with me this week, like real cash money, type in the chat how much you've made. So I've got results. I've been doing this a long time. But I'm launching something new because I have some technology that's coming out that is going to blow your mind. And because it's new, I'm coming humbly to say, look, I am going to be teaching some people free of charge. Okay, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 7 p.m. Is everyone quiet on the call? Is the chat box working? What's going on? Right. And so 7 p.m., Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I'm going to be doing a free training, but it's not just a training, it's come on and make money with me. Okay. So even if you have no experience whatsoever, you're going to download a few apps, follow a few 30-second instructions, and you will be able to come on and make real live money with me. Okay. If you've already registered, if you're already in, you've already got your accounts and stuff, just let me know. Okay. And we are going to be kicking off 7 p.m. on Tuesday, 7 p.m. on Wednesday, 7 p.m. on Thursday. Okay. We want to have over 100 people on the call. I've got a really big goal. All right. And I'm going to be doing it absolutely free. You can come on and you're going to see the systems, the softwares. You can see everything. I'm going to be doing it live on the call. I'm going to be creating some wealth plans for everybody so that you walk away off that call with a wealth plan. Okay. You're also going to be able to actually press the buttons and get in. You can practice on a demo if you don't want to make real live money. Or behave yourself, Esther. I'm getting out of my Movado era. I'm a pastor now. Right? Even though I'm left money. Sorry. We need to make sure that we got 100 people on the call, and I need your help. Okay. So it's going to be in rebuildforfree.com. If you go over to rebuildforfree.com, you'll be able to see it. In fact, I'm going to show you one here in a minute. You'll be able to see it and you will see how you can register. It's all free. It's just free value. Okay. Free value. If you want to join after and you want to buy anything after that, that's up to you. But you'll come on the call, you'll be able to make real live money. You'll never have to talk to me again. And it is free value, like literally free value. That is what I'm going to be giving. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 7 p.m. this week. If we have over 100 people on the call on any one of those days, I will repeat it again and do it the following week. All right. So I'm excited about that. We also have the Dubai experience. Boom, boom, boom. Those of you that want to launch real big, we are launching in Dubai. It's absolutely amazing price, only 1,500 quid. And you'll be able to come, you'll spend some time with me daily. We're going to be investing together. We're going to be sorting out your brand together. We're going to be sorting out your content together. We're going to be doing lifestyle photos, lifestyle pictures. We're going to be actually going around Dubai and doing every single thing that you need to do to go from idea to income. So Dubai is the 6th of May to the 10th, I believe. And the application process is also in Rebuild for Free. You'll see all the information in there, rebuildforfree.com, and you will see that over there as well. And then we have one more thing, date for your diaries. Oh my God, no, I can't tell you that. I can't tell you that. That's all I can tell you. Those that are part of boot camp tomorrow, boot camp, because we have this call tomorrow at 7, boot camp will be at 8 p.m. Okay, so please, boot campers, if you are on here, boot camp will be 8 p.m. after that 7 p.m. Okay, so boot camp will be 8 p.m. Tomorrow. So please make sure it will go inside the boot camp forum anyway. But just to let you know, it'll be 8 p.m. tomorrow, not 7 p.m. So there's so much happening. I hope you are as excited as I am. Let me see if I can go ahead and show y'all. This is going to be amazing. Amazing.